talk about fishing. The one thing that I've noticed with the Potomac bass are very aggressive bass. I fish throughout the country, from California, Arizona, Nevada, Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, even all the way to Maine. I fish all over the country. But Potomac bass is one of the most aggressive bass that I know. They don't care if you have a 65-pound line, braided line. They're still going to bite. And the most bass that I've noticed is that they're all stocky. It's like, you know, compared to human beings, they're short, but they're very stocky. I think the reason is because in order for them to survive in this kind of harsh condition out there, it's the tide is always going up and down. It always comes in and goes out. Fish has to survive the tide. So they kind of get exercise every day to chase out the bait. But they keep eating it, they keep exercising it. So when you see a fish, I call them shoulder, when you look at the top of it, your back of the fish is really big. It just, that's the power, where the power is coming from. They are also aggressive. The water starts to warm up in probably right now. So the fish are getting ready to spawn. You know, something goes into brain, and they are very aggressive in feeding. They go into feeding mode. They want to get fat, so that they can produce eggs. Especially female, they start eating a lot of crawfish. And I've caught a lot of bass in the springtime with the crawfish. When you catch a fish, you grab the lower jaw of the fish. When you see it, you see two claws of crawfish sticking out like this, completely red. That means they are still hungry. Your stomach is full. They still want to eat. It's like a reaction line. So, I mean, springtime is probably one of my favorite times to catch a bigger bass. The water temperature is rising about 45 degrees and 47 degrees. Something happens to them. And they winter out in the deep water, probably about 15 foot of water. All of a sudden they come up to shallow water. So what I do is I try to find places that are very close to the deep water, but still has a shallow flats. In this river, there's a lot of grasses out there. I call it aquatic vegetation, submerged aquatic vegetation. SAV, SAD. There's a different kind of vegetations out there: milfoil, hydrolla, and eelgrass. During the wintertime, they seem like they all go away, they die, but they don't die. The roots and the very, very bottom of the bud are still there. But in springtime, they're going to start growing. That's where the bass are going to all attracted to, because that's where the crawfish going to be there. All the small like shad's going to be there. Bluegill, all kinds of bait fish going to be attracted to the grass field. That's where the fish are going to be. Let me show you some of the spots that I'm talking about.
I was getting over there, by the way, you don't need a boat to get to them. A lot of the places on Mohic, along Pennsylvania.
I'm going to use this rod if you don't mind. Paul pulled out this map. My number two, probably number 2 and 3 places that I love to fish out of Potomac is in here. I'm going to reveal my secret to you. In the back of the Pohic Bay here, it's not that far from the ramp that you fish out of the pier. This is all grass. All this here, all flat. All flat. And there's a channel runs in the middle right here. Okay. Right this here, 70 feet. 70 feet deep. You see a lot of blue catfish in boats out here, sitting here. They try to catch a 70, 80 pound blue catfish. This is one of the deepest spots on the river. And I think this is about 30 feet. In the channel, you're about 15 feet. So within a mile, you got 2 to 3 feet of water here. This is one of the hot spots in the springtime, right here. I think the reason is because it gets the sun. It's facing the south. So what I do is, in the springtime, I go in here, I put my boat right in the channel. Channel runs like right in the middle here. And I start casting crankbaits to look for aggressive fish. I'm not looking for a fish that's hungry, looking for food. I'm looking for a fish that's reacting to bait. I don't care, whether he's got the full mouth of the crawfish. If it's an aggressive fish, he's going to bite it. So what I usually do is I usually throw a crankbait.
So you might want to explain what a crankbait is. Everybody understands it?
Okay. Now we are throwing 2 to 3 foot of water. Okay. I like the square bill. You see the square bill? Some reason they kind of wobble a little more. And I'm throwing this and varying the speed of it. I want to feel the bottom of it. I can feel whether there's grass, or there's dead grass, there's grass, or hard bottom with this tip. Once I figure out, hey, there's a little bit harder bottom out there, I slow it down so that the crankbait is running right above the little harder bottom. Fish love to spawn in the gravelly areas. So this becomes my guess finder, believe it or not. I can pretty much tell with the line that I use whether it's got a grass growing, whether it's got a soft bottom, whether it's got some sort of structure down there. I can tell with this. So I usually like to throw this, they call it sexy shad. Kevin Van Dam always advertised it. He came up with a name, sexy shad. And then one of my old favorite, this is Cotton Cordell, made by Cotton Cordell Big O. This was developed in the Okeechobee area, in Florida. It's been around probably more than 30 years or so. It's an old timer. Once again, even back then they had a square bill crankbait. I love to use a chartreuse, something that's really bright. On the Potomac River, they love it. I don't know what it is, but they love the chartreuse color.
You like the square versus the round, or for what reason?
Okay. Square bill because they wobble a little more. Let me give you an example. I throw this in the heaviest laydown possible. I had a lot of guys that fished with me. They were amazed by how much I throw into the laydown. And I don't get hung up. When you stop this crankbait, they kind of go backward like this. I'm not sure about this, but the Big O does. Big O does. They go back up, and that's when the fish is going to bite. When you get hung up on a tree limb or grass, don't yank it out of there. Leave it there a little bit, because that's going to float back up. That's when the fish is going to hit. I usually use probably 15-pound mono. I have nothing wrong with it. I don't do any fancy stuff like some of these guys do. They gotta have Sugoi, Japanese-made fluorocarbon here and there. They gotta have $300 Altica CR reels, and they gotta have G Loomis, $400 G Loomis rod. I use $50 Bass Pro Shop, $90 Quantum. This is probably one of the cheapest lines Berkeley makes, big game. I don't, the thing is, the fish doesn't mind. Fish doesn't care. They don't discriminate what you have. As long as you put your lure in the right place, the right time. So, once you find the grass area, don't leave. stay right there. Put your boat right there. Sorry if I talk about boating here. I'm sure you guys fish out of the shore, right? Boat, shore. Put your boat right there. Dissect that grass all day long. I do. Because the fish is going to go there and come out, go there and come out, because they feed. So that's the pre-spawn.
So you should probably go over that again. One of the things, I fish with a lot of different folks on the tour with me. Tony's one of the slowest, most methodical fishers I've ever been with. He'll hit a spot. I've been with folks where they catch a fish and then boom, they're gone. They go someplace else. Tony catches a fish and we're there another 30 minutes. And we put another 6 to 10 fish in the boat because of it. His general notion is if there's one fish there, there are more fish. You just need to figure out what they're hitting. Yeah. So moving fast is not necessarily springtime. The best way to fish springtime on the Potomac.
So when you fish for a while for the bass fishing, what you really want to do is you need to develop the sixth sense. A lot of guys are reading the graphs, temperatures, here temperature's 51 and there's 49. I can't fish at 49 degrees. I gotta go here. Forget about all that. 30, 40 years ago, our forefather bass fishing, they didn't rely on those. You know what I mean? Try to build your sense in your brain. That's what I want to teach you and lecture you about. By looking at the watercolor, you can pretty much right now I can pretty much tell what temperature that's going to be. With the air temperature, all that. It's like this: when you drive a car, you punch the address in GPS. You go there 5, 6 times, get rid of GPS, can you get there? Sometimes you forget, right? Because you rely on GPS so much. Don't do that. Do not rely on electronics in your boat or anything like that, or anybody who tells you what to do, just forget about those. Try to build your own sense of sixth sense, how to catch fish. Listen to the environment, listen to the sky, look at the sky, look at the trees on the shoreline. Here's another key. When you look at the shorelines, look at the composite of the ground that's got. If the beach is there, mud beach is there, and all of a sudden there's a little gravel, see where the vein is coming out to. That's probably going to be where the bass is spawning. You got to look at all your surroundings. And look at the kind of trees that's got on the shoreline. It's got a maple oak, it's got a pine tree. What kind of trees are there? It all depends. Southern trees prefer hard bottoms to the soft bottom. You know what I mean? Look at all those. Another thing that I throw in the springtime, pre-spawn, is this. I'm throwing a moving bait. This is it's like a chatterbait. I don't know if you guys know about this at all. This particular model is made by Bouillon. I like this because it's got a very unique blade on the top of it, and it's just better made. I think it's just better made. I've caught, they all look the same, but I've caught better fish, a bit good. And I always use 3.5 inch to 4 inch, a little bit smaller profile, swim bait kind of trails, mostly white. Sometimes I dye this chartreuse. You all know chartreuse? Yeah. Sometimes I carry that all the time here. Diet. Like I said, Potomac bass love something bright and shiny. So I use mostly silver or gold blade, mostly silver blade. When I'm using this, I'm tying this to a 50-pound braided line because I want to feel this every weight coming back to me. I usually fish this where the lily pads used to be at. All the lily pads are gone by this time of the year. But you know where they are from last year, right? So when the tide is up, fish is going to get up there, and they're going to start feeding. So you throw up there, just like crankbait, you're going to feel the bottom, you're going to feel the little bit of stock coming out from the bottom. Oh, there's a stock coming out. Slow, retrieve a little bit faster, so go up a little bit. You're going to vary the speed, and that's when the fish is going to hit.